there is a sermon or so. The good news was it wasn't in the leaflet, so I'm sorry to disappoint you if you perused that first and had other feelings about it. I do think I'll do a children's sermon. We love to do children's sermons. In parishes where I have been, which have been several now at this point, actually there were 14, one way or the other, curate and rector and so on and so forth. Most of the people said after the children's sermons, gee, that was wonderful. For a while I really understood what you were talking about. Well, anyway, I think I'll give a little children's sermon here, and I'll sit here where your rector and others do. Yes, I'm capable of doing that, even at this stage of the game, and invite children to come up and join me, and those who care to. Why don't you come on up? Others? Come on? Okay. That's fine. And I thought I'd speak to you along these lines. We hear in the gospel today about a woman with an infirmity, an illness. The poor woman had this illness for 18 years, a long time. And it was an illness which we might today call osteoporosis, because it had to do with her posture and her bones. And it resulted in her, maybe you've seen such poor people, and often women who are bent over. You may have some in the congregation, and if you have that problem at all, you have our deepest sympathy. It's not, when it comes to healings, many think it is not quite as dramatic as some of the healings that occurred when a person was able to speak who couldn't before, able to hear who couldn't before. This seemed to be a posture thing, but it was a terrible thing. And she was almost, if you see people who suffer with this, often women more than men for some reason, but it happens to men too. They're like a letter L. I mean, they just bent over. And that's a terrible, terrible way to be, and it's hard on your internal organs and your health and so on. It's quite a serious matter. And so our Lord did heal this woman, which was a wonderful thing, of this physical illness. And one of the messages today is that when we are ill, any of you ever been sick? Yes. Oh, I suppose I do have what you call children's illnesses, yes. You had tonsil problem? I never lost my tonsils, I still got them, but if they were a problem, you're not missing much. Any other illnesses you had? No? Well, I hope you haven't had too many, and I hope you never will. But if you do, know that Jesus, our Lord, who is all about us and closer than we can even almost breathe, all about us, stands ready to help you overcome even your physical illness. And if not, as sometimes happens, He will give you great strength to deal with it and live with it. And He's there to heal you in other ways as well, in your mind and throughout. Any questions about that? That's the sermon, children's sermon for today, and I'm going to go to the pulpit and then preach the other one. Thank you for coming and joining me. Getting down is one thing, getting up is another.